Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a Hot Topic? Just...
Hey, Conan, can you believe that marriage didn't work out?
And I hated how Oprah was interviewing him and acting like she was dumbfounded.
Bill Burr doesn't go looking for drama. It finds him, especially when celebrities start taking themselves too seriously. Whether it's a talk show couch or a podcast mic, Burr's brutally honest takes have shredded some of the biggest names in pop culture. These are fascinating moments when disrespectful celebrities get destroyed by Bill Burr. 1. Bill Burr on Caitlyn and Bruce, Jenner, Conan on TBS, 2015. When Burr stepped onto Conan's stage and brought up one of the most talked about celebrity transformations ever, it wasn't the person he took aim at, it was the coverage. There's a reason most comedians sidestep anything related to Caitlyn Jenner. It's a cultural minefield.
Bruce became Caitlyn. That was like a national news story, like at a ridiculous level. Baby seals washing up on the beach because there's no fish left. This lady, you know, like, so Bruce, are you gonna go, can your Olympic back handle a D cup, or are you gonna go with like something a little more perky?
But Burr didn't mind. Sitting across from Conan, he managed to raise eyebrows, crack up the audience, and stir a conversation all at once, pointing out how quickly the media rewrites history, acting like the past never happened. And the way he highlighted the double standards was brutal.
Dude, you shave your beard off. People are like, oh my God, that's your chin? Wow. This guy walked out a dude, came back a woman. You're just supposed to be like, oh yes, anyways, Caitlyn, that's all I was saying.
The crowd laughed and couldn't look away. It was peak Burr, unapologetically honest, even when the room feels a little too quiet. And just when it seemed like he couldn't push harder, he set his sights on one of the biggest pop icons of all time, Madonna. 2. Bill Burr destroyed Madonna. Madonna made headlines for a public speech, and Burr couldn't resist. But instead of focusing on the drama itself, he mocked the whole idea of celebrities turning serious issues into dramatic monologues.
For like 10 minutes, and then it was just like 100,000 people in the rain agreeing with each other. It was just like 3 hours. Are you ready to fly? Yes! I said, are you ready? Yes! For the love of God! We're all on the same page here. Can we go inside?
Burr zeroed in on how ridiculous it is when the super rich act like they're in the trenches with everyday people, while surrounded by bodyguards and flown in on private jets. He didn't just criticize the speech, he shredded the performance of caring.
And then Madonna crushed it. Madonna comes in wearing a beret, so you know she's in a rebel mood, right? Drops a couple of F-bombs, threatens to blow up the White House because she knew Fox News would be like, is Madonna a terrorist threat? Yeah. So she gets all that free thing.
His frustration wasn't with protesting, it was with how fame turns real causes into shallow performances. The way he delivered it, calm, amused, and slightly disgusted, made it all the more effective. The audience couldn't stop laughing, but the message was serious. Some celebs treat causes like fashion statements. And speaking of treating fame like a brand, Burr pulls apart the entire empire of a famous TV empire. 3. Bill Burr roasts the Kardashians, 2013. In his special You People Are All the Same, Burr came after a family whose name had basically become a brand. He didn't just tell jokes about reality TV, he exposed the emptiness behind it.
And then meanwhile, you look at the Kardashians, they're making billions. You look at those Real Housewives shows, they're making money hand over fist, because that's what women are watching. And the money listens. You don't want to watch this shit, you watch this shit. They just shoot it over there, drowning these whores in money. Purses and shoes and Botox.
Emphasizing how feminists have failed themselves, Burr went on about how being famous for doing nothing had somehow become aspirational. Without specifying, he dismantled the obsession with cosmetic perfection and the bizarre worship of people who've never really done anything.
So, the money listens. You'd rather watch that shit. Real Housewives, bunch of women just tearing each other down. Well, maybe that's why your husband left you. Maybe that's why your husband left. That's why you can't have kids, bitch!
Questioning their obsession with looks, the ridiculous wealth, and the idea of treating every mundane activity like a photo shoot, it was pure genius. Everyone knew exactly what he meant, and the message was clear. Even feminists had no choice but to join in on the laughter. But if you think that's harsh, Burr's got even sharper words for someone the media has long treated like royalty. 4. Bill Burr destroys Oprah, 2018. Oprah is one of the most powerful women in media, but that didn't stop Burr from pointing out the bizarre way she interviews certain celebrities. His bit focused on how she reacts to actors describing their grueling roles, like pretending to suffer somehow makes them heroic.
He raised $500 million for cancer research. That's what that lie did. Yeah, it was great. And everybody had the bands on. Remember the bands?
Sure.
Right? That blocked out the sun, right?
No, it wasn't to block out the sun.
No risk cancer?
Yeah.
Burr painted the image so well you could practically see the self-importance oozing off the screen. He exposed the absurdity of celebrity worship, especially when it's being served up by someone who should know better. His delivery was dripping with disbelief, dismantling the pedestal some stars are placed on. It wasn't personal, it was overdue. The laughs hit harder because deep down everyone knew he was right. Nobody needs a standing ovation for pretending to be sad. And if you think Burr only goes after TV icons, his next target was a tech legend with a god complex. 5. Bill Burr destroys Steve Jobs, 2011. In one of his more underrated bits, Burr went after the Apple co-founder, not for the inventions, but for the praise that bordered on worship. Burr didn't deny the tech was cool. He just questioned why one guy got all the glory.
Actually, nerd Jesus died in the last year, right? Steve Jobs. Yeah, he died, right? I know, a lot of nerds here tonight. I know, you're sad. I didn't get it. I didn't get the big deal they made about that guy. When he died, they were like, he changed the world. He changed the world. The world was one way, and then Steve Jobs came, and it was another.
Burr made the whole situation sound so ridiculous you couldn't help but laugh. His gripe wasn't with innovation, it was with how society reacts. He questioned why no one ever gives credit to the people who actually built the devices.
That whole advertising, the way they aligned themselves with some of the greatest people of all time. Jesus, Gandhi, me. Remember that? Muhammad Ali, John Lennon, this guy. How the fuck was that dude like any of them? Gandhi didn't have a sweatshop.
His takedown was funny because it was true. We praise figureheads and ignore the workers. Burr's sarcasm pierced through the tech glorification fog like a software update no one asked for. And sometimes, Burr doesn't even need a soapbox, just one awkward moment to spark a takedown. 6. Bill Burr destroys Leah Delaria. What started as a harmless backstage moment quickly turned into comedy gold when Burr was caught off guard by a simple request from Leah Delaria, and his reaction was just classic.
On Orange is the New Black, your character has a lot of tats.
Yeah.
Do you get those put on? You have a tat that says...
No. I have that's all my ink. I have this mic on.
Yeah, that's all right.
Be a gentleman and help me out with my question.
He turned the moment into a comedy gold, expectations, and how quickly things can get awkward when people forget to read the room. The best part? He didn't snap. It was Burr being Burr. Sarcastic, quick-witted, and always ready to flip the script. And then he launched into a mini rant that had the whole room laughing, including Delaria herself.
Hey, Cody, can you believe that marriage didn't work out? Yeah, I can't believe your relationships don't work out.
It was proof that Burr doesn't need a stage to roast someone. He just needs a weird moment and a little space to riff. Next up, Burr finds himself ranting about Broadway and somehow lands on Elon Musk. 7. Bill Burr goes on a rant about Elon Musk. During a visit to The Tonight Show, Burr started talking about Broadway, but Burr couldn't resist. He veered into Elon Musk territory and casually tore apart the tech worship.
Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a hot topic? Just... I am so sick of that guy trying to rewrite his origin story like he was Matthew McConaughey pulling into the high school. It's like you were a nerd, nobody banged you, and now you have hair plugs in your laminated face.
That's the beauty of a Burr rant. You never know where it's going. He casually dismantled the tech genius image, calling out the cult-like following and the bizarre behavior that gets brushed off because of billionaire status.
Everybody is afraid of these nerds. I don't get it. My whole life, feminists were focusing on frat boys and guys with their hats on backwards, and they left the nerds alone. And now look at them. They got people wearing adult diapers, driving 18-wheelers, trying to get Crocs to the box store on time. They're horrible, heartless people.
He wasn't hating on innovation. He was questioning why we excuse eccentricity when someone has a massive bank account. His tone was playful, but the subtext was sharp. When someone gets that rich and famous, people stop questioning them. And that's when things get weird. But as intense as that was, nothing beats Burr casually dismantling internet logic. Live, in the middle of a podcast. 8. Bill Burr on quarantine destroys Joe Rogan. In a now viral podcast moment, Burr sat across from Joe Rogan and delivered one of his most uncomfortable truths, all with a smirk. Burr didn't just disagree, he calmly obliterated the argument. While Joe voiced his opinions about masks, Burr stayed cool, sarcastic, and devastatingly logical.
You want people to walk down the street with a mask on?
Let's not start this, Joe.
Do you, though?
Let's not start this, okay?
Let's start it.
I don't want to start this bullshit. I'm not going to sit here with no medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree, with an American flag behind you, smoking a cigar, acting like we know what's up, better than the CDC. All I do is I watch the news once every 2 weeks. I'm like, mask or no mask? Still mask? All right, mask. That's all I give a fuck about.
No shouting match. While Rogan offered up his now infamous opinions, Burr calmly cut through the noise. No yelling, no arguing, just sharp, sarcastic logic. He called out the overconfidence and uninformed opinions and reminded everyone that listening to experts isn't weakness. It's just common sense.
But even they say you shouldn't wear a mask unless you're treating a coronavirus. The World Health Organization.
Yeah, but they didn't say that
literally
initially. They didn't say it initially.
No, they didn't.
They did, and then it gradually, and then wait, and then everybody wore the fucking mask. This is like rollerblading. Everybody fucking rollerblade, and then there was that one fucking homophobic joke, and then everybody acted like they never did it. We all wore masks, and then all of a sudden, people are fucking sitting there. Well, you don't have the body type for it, dude. Your fucking knuckles would scrape on the ground, even with that extra 2 inches.
The best part? Burr didn't try to win the debate. He just made it clear how ridiculous it was that wearing a mask had become a hot topic in the first place and destroyed Joe in the process. And if you think that was awkward, wait till you hear what he had to say about Kanye. 9. Bill Burr destroys Kanye West. When a certain artist took the stage and went completely off script, Burr had thoughts, lots of them, and it was nothing but legendary. He nearly broke down laughing, treating every microphone like a pulpit.
Next time Kanye's going off on himself, tell him, just close your eyes, forget it's him, and really listen to what is coming out of this guy's mouth. He says shit like I'm a genius. I'm a god, I'm Shakespeare. My biggest regret is I'll never get to see myself perform live.
That one line was enough fuel for a full-on roast. Burr didn't need metaphors. He just repeated the quote and let the ridiculousness speak for itself. Burr mocked the need to constantly remind people of their own genius, especially when fans just want the show they paid for. Burr laughed in genuine confusion, then launched into a rant that took down the entire concept of ego.
That's a direct quote. My biggest regret is I'll never get to see myself perform live. Dude, you put that ego in a white dude that is, ich bin einen in der Streisen. What's the Blitzkrieg? What's a superior race? Vienna will return to Deutschland first.
He mocked the idea with such simplicity, it didn't need dressing up. The joke wasn't just about Kanye. It was about anyone who's reached a level of fame where no one says no anymore. Burr's delivery was fast, brutal, and unforgettable. Because when the world's being spoon-fed nonsense, Burr reminds us how good it feels to hear the truth. Loud, clear, and hilarious. Bill Burr doesn't chase headlines. He wrecks them. In a world where everyone tiptoes around celebrity ego, he kicks the door down and says it like it is. If you're disrespectful, arrogant, or just flat-out fake, Burr's coming with a verbal flamethrower. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because you never know who's getting roasted next.